Hey, what's up guys? This video is for section 4.3, which is writing linear equations in point-slope form. And this video, it is a short version of this lesson. If you guys are interested in watching the full version, you guys can go to my Algebra 1 playlist in my YouTube channel. Now, when you guys are writing equations for linear functions, there are three forms that you guys need to remember. And I'll mention those three, but we are going to use only one specific one of those forms for this section. Now, the first one that I show you guys, this is not the one we're going to use for this section, but the first form I show you in linear equations is called the standard form. And I'm going to write it down on top of the screen right here so you guys know what it is. Ax plus by equals c. Now, when the x and the y are on the same side, a, b, and c are integers and a is not negative, that is called the standard form. We also have another form that you guys already know how to use it to graph lines, which is the slope-inverse form, and it is y equals mx plus b. Now, even though that every single form looks different, those are from linear functions. You guys have a graph with a line. The y equals mx plus b, remember that m and b are numbers. They can be fractions or they can be negative positives, but you guys do have your slope and your y-intercept. The one we are going to talk about today is called the point-slope form. So the point-slope form is the following: y minus y1 equals m times the quantity of x minus x1. Let me put a box around the point-slope form because this is the form we are going to use for this video, for this lesson. The other two, you guys can go back to my Algebra 1 playlist and you guys can find the videos for standard form and slope-inverse form. But the point-slope form, this y and this x are going to be variables just like the y and the x. You're not going to put any numbers in those. You're not going to do anything. You're just going to leave them alone. The ones you guys need to substitute, the numbers you guys need to substitute, or the values, you guys need to know what is the y1, what is the m, and what is the x1. Now, the good thing is that m, you already know what that is. That's the same thing as the slope-inverse form. It is the slope. So when you guys look at a line or they tell you guys the slope of the line, that's going to be m. x1 and y1 are going to be the coordinates of the point that is on the line, the x coordinate and the y coordinate. So I'm going to do the first one for you, question number 1, and notice that the line is going uphill and we have a positive slope, m equals 3. This point right here is on the line, so that means that we are going to use this point to substitute into the x1 and the y1. How do you know which one it is? Well, let me zoom in here, and for you guys to make it a little bit easier for you, just label the points as x1 and y1. So my x coordinate is going to be x1 and my y coordinate is going to be y1. All you do now is you are going to take the numbers -1, -2, substitute into the x1, y1, and substitute the 3 into the m. So I'm going to do that right now. So you guys see on the screen, I do have the y1 here, which is -2 from the point, and I have the x1 here, which is from the point as well. But also, now look at the negatives. We do have double negative here and double negative. So if you guys have double negatives, you will have to simplify those double negatives. So you're going to have to make them positive. My slope here is the same one as here. So I'm just going to simplify the double negatives. And you guys will have y plus 2 equals 3 times the quantity of x plus 3. I want you guys to compare with the point-slope form. Point-slope form, you guys have y minus a number equals m, which is the slope, times the quantity of x minus a number. Now, even though you guys have a plus here, remember those came from the double negative. That's okay, but that's the answer. The point-slope form for the line in this graph, question number 1, is y plus 2 equals 3 times the quantity of x plus 3. Let me show you guys number 3 here. Now, number 3, you guys do have the points 2 minus 2 comma -3, and you guys have the slope of 0. 0 is a number, so you're going to have to substitute a 0 into the m. Now, let me label x1, y1. I'm going to use my point slope form up here, and I'm going to substitute the x1 and the y1 and the slope. And you guys see that this one is your y1, so there's the y coordinate, and this one is your x1, there's your x coordinate. That's from the point slope. x1 is here, y1 is over here. Now we do have double negatives here. Negative times a negative, that's going to be positive. This 2 doesn't have a negative, so it is positive, and if you multiply by a negative, that's going to become a negative. But I want you guys to pay attention to the actual slope. Notice the slope. This one here, you guys do have 0 times all of this here. So if you guys make number sense, kind of like common sense, but you guys are using numbers, if you multiply anything inside the parentheses times 0, well, that's going to be 0. 0 times any number is equal to 0. So I'm going to change this to plus. Negative times a negative is a positive. Y plus 3. And I'm going to put a 0 on this side because, one more time, if you guys multiply 0 times anything, it's going to be 0. So my answer in point slope form is y plus 3 equals 0. So I'm going to do a couple more for you guys. Number 4 and number 8. Those do not have the graph, but they do give us a point on the line. So they say this point 3, 1 is on the line and the slope is 0. And for number 8, we have 3, 3 and the slope is 4/3. We have a fraction here. So first of all, let's go ahead and label what we know. We know this is x1, this is y1. We know m equals 0. And my point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So you guys are going to substitute the y1 and the x1 and the slope into the formula or the point slope form. And notice that I do have the y1 right here. That's the y1. And the x1 over here. That's your x1. The 1 and the 3 are not negatives. So you guys do not have double negatives. So they will stay as a negative because you guys have a positive 3 times a negative. That's a negative 3. And a positive 1 times a negative is a negative 1. I don't need those parentheses anymore. So I'm going to bring down the y minus 1 equals 3 times the quantity of x minus 3. Now, a common question is my students have, do we have to multiply, do we have to distribute the 3 into the parentheses? Well, guys, the point slope form is actually this. You guys do not have to multiply. You guys do not have to distribute the 3 into the parentheses for the point slope form. If they ask for something else, and that's going to be for my next video, if they ask for the slope, intercept form, or the standard form, that's when we have to distribute the number outside the parentheses. But for this video, for the point slope form, my answer is right there. So let's go ahead and look at number 8. Last one I'm going to do for you guys. This 3 is going to be my x1. That's my point on the line. The other 3 is going to be my y1, and my slope is going to be my m is going to be my slope. I'm going to substitute into the form, and I do have the x1 right here and the y1 over here. Again, I don't have double negatives. So I just bring down the numbers. I don't need the parentheses. So I'm going to have y minus 3 equals 4/3 times x minus 3. Now this is my point slope form because you guys have the x1, y1 right here, and you guys have the slope. You guys do not have to distribute because that's it. The point slope form is when you guys have the slope outside of the parentheses and the x1 over here and the y1 over here. So guys, I want you guys to practice your math. Check out my other videos if you guys have questions for the full version. Remember, you guys can go to my Algebra 1 playlist and you guys can see the whole video for this lesson. I wish you guys the best, and I'll see you guys later.